Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is compare a couple of third row SUVs. Now on the one side I have the Hyundai Palisade, and on the other side I've got the Kia Telluride. So we'll look at the interior, some of the second and third row features, the exterior, and see which one might just be perfect for you. Let's begin by looking at the Telluride. Now this is a 2024 Kia Telluride SX X-Line. So it's a little bit different. It's kind of a higher mid-tier trim level. There is more equipment you can add and some you can take away, but for the sake of the comparison, we do have a Hyundai Palisade Limited over there. Now this one is going to be in the all-wheel drive. So for those Minnesota winters, it's gonna help you out in a pinch. Now what powers the Telluride? It's a 3.8 liter 6-cylinder, and it's gonna get you about 18 mpg in the city and 24 mpg on the highway. Now what's cool about the Kia Telluride is the style. I think they did a great job when they designed this vehicle. This blue color with some of the silver accents that runs around, and then these 20-inch wheels that match everything so nicely. I think everything from the design language of the front of the vehicle to the back does flow very well. Now what's cool up front, you are going to have LED headlights with these cool signature daytime running lights up front, and you are going to have a front-facing camera. So what that means is inside the vehicle, you will get a 360 view, but we'll cover that a little bit more later. Now let's cover the storage capacity on this. So obviously with the third row, that you can fold down, so you get a huge cargo space back there. One thing that's pretty cool is in the back, there's a couple little buttons you can actually press, and that's gonna manually fold that second row down for you. So if you're hauling larger objects around or anything like that, it makes it pretty simple to have a lot of cargo space in the Telluride. Now back to the exterior for a second. This one will have the roof rack rails, so you can add the cross rails up above. You want to put the ski box up there, maybe some kayaks. There's a lot of usability out of the Telluride. Now the towing capacity is also going to be around 5,000 pounds. So if you got a small boat or maybe a utility trailer, this can certainly help you out there as well. So before we actually hop in the Kia Telluride, let's jump over. We'll look at the exterior on the Palisade. Now it's almost like a little bit of sibling rivalry to me, because there's a lot of similarities when you're looking at the Palisade, but there's also quite a few things that are different. Now this is the 2024 Limited all-wheel drive, which is their H-Track system. So this again is going to give you plenty of grip and bite if you're going off-roading, or if that winter comes around, this is certainly going to help you out there. Now fuel economy, this is going to have the same 3.8 liter 6-cylinder with the 8-speed, but this bumps up a little bit in the city to 19 mpg and then 24 on the highway. Now this one will get the blacked out grille up front, and there's a lot of different ways to kind of configure both the Telluride and the Palisade. Now if you're looking kind of higher tier trim levels, the wheel options change, and there is some differences for the front of the vehicle as well as some of the exterior colors as you work up the trim levels. Now this one also keeps those really cool LED headlights up front and those signature daytime running lights. Now you are going to have a power lift gate on both models, and in the back of this one, that's where you start to notice some of the differences. This one will have a power third row, so you just click a button one time and it's going to fold that row both down and back up again with the one tap, which is pretty convenient. From there, you're also going to have an adjustable second row, so you can kind of fold it, slide it, move it around, just like the Kia Telluride, but it's also going to have those buttons in the back that you can click to fold those down. So a lot of things on the exterior are pretty similar. You've got the 20-inch wheels here, you've got those roof rack rails that you can put up above for the cross rails, and as well, there's just a lot of similarities, but just a few differences. So it kind of depends on which exterior you like better, and pricing is also a consideration. Now the Hyundai that we have here today is just over $52,000 for the MSRP. Now the Kia Telluride is going to be very close to that as well. But let's hop back over there and we'll check out the interior on the Telluride. Okay, so now in the second row, I wanted to give you a quick look just how much knee space I have and headroom up above, and this one will get the dual sunroof with the SX X-Line. So that really does open it up, especially with the black interior. That's a pretty cool feature that you immediately notice when you hop inside. Now what else is cool, there's a little handle so I can slide this seat forward and back, and just with the press of a button down here, you can actually kick the seat and slide it forward. So if you've got the child seat in here, you don't actually have to unclip it. It'll just slide the seat forward so people can access that third row. Now in the third row, there's actually quite a bit of space back there. I was pretty surprised. There's also cup holders, there's USB-C charging back there, and it, like I said, makes it pretty convenient to hop in and out. There's a little button you can even click on the armrest, so when they're ready to hop out of that third row, it's gonna slide it forward, and there's an easy little step to get in and out. Now another cool thing, if you're doing road trips, cabin trips, you've got a AC 115 volt down here, so kind of your standard household plug-in, as well as the 12 volt, and there's USB charging in the side of the front seats. So everybody can keep their devices charged up when you're on the go. But let's hop up, we'll check out the driver's seat. All right, so in the driver's seat of the SX Telluride here, there's a lot of buttons and stuff going on, but all of it is very convenient and easy to use. I found myself hopping in and knowing exactly how everything worked. The air conditioning still has knobs on here, you can change your fan speed, but it also can be controlled through the infotainment screen here. So everything is very simple and it's easily laid out for you when you're in the driver's seat. Now, let's talk about these seats for a second. So these are going to be heated as well as ventilated, and this is some of the easiest heated and ventilated seats I've seen in a new car today. It's right here for the driver and the passenger. You can just click it at any time, heated or ventilated, and then you're also gonna have one of my favorite features, which is the heated steering wheel. So when that Minnesota winter comes back around, that is a pretty cool feature to have there. Now on our steering wheel and full gauge cluster and display here, it's really cool. It's very kind of driver centric, but on the steering wheel, you've got all your buttons for your radio controls and then your adaptive cruise control and just kind of your menu settings on the one side. So you can actually change and configure your digital gauge cluster here. So if you want standard gauges, what I've got now is kind of a cityscape going on. It's a pretty cool screen and it does make it pretty convenient for when you're on the go to see your pertinent information. Now, onto this screen over here, you will have built-in navigation, and if you plug in your phone, you can have Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. Now, down here, speaking of your phone, there is a wireless charging pad with a couple of USB chargers down there, so that's a pretty cool way with a little cover here to just kind of keep your phone stored away so you're not messing with it when you're on the road. But other than that, all your safety features are going to be in here. Things like adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, emergency braking. There's so much safety equipment in here that obviously if you and your family are in the vehicle, you're going to absolutely want to make sure that you're safe when you're on the go. Now, I like the buttons, like I said, laid out here. Everything is very easy, and there's different drive modes. So comfort, eco, sport, and smart. And then if you click it, the X-Line is kind of more the off-road focus. So you have snow, mud, and then a sand mode for the terrain settings. So you can configure those to your driving style. You've also got a button here for when you're stopped to pull up the 360 camera. Like I mentioned on the outside, it spins around the vehicle. You can see out front on each side. Maybe if the kids left some toys in the driveway or trying to park at kind of a busy grocery store, that is a very convenient and very easy to use feature. So the seats are also memory seats. So on the door here, that's controlled that way. So if you got a couple drivers, you can just click that and we'll set it for you. And there's also an ease of entrance feature. So when you shut the vehicle off and get back in, it will actually back the seat up and then move it forward again, which you can turn off in the infotainment screen if you don't like, but it's a pretty cool feature and something that makes it comfortable to hop in and out of the truck. So overall, I like the sunroof up here. This one does have the HomeLink auto dimming mirror. So if someone's got the really bright lights, that'll dim it down. You can program it to your garage door as well. But overall, I love the design, the layout, everything is easy to use. The materials in here look really good. And these seats, like I said, are extremely comfortable. So I can see myself doing a pretty long road trip in here, and you're gonna get really good fuel economy at 24 miles per gallon on the highway and be comfortable when you're doing that. But let's jump over, we'll check out the Hyundai Palisade. Okay, so again, it feels pretty similar in here, but in the Limited, you are gonna add quite a bit of different equipment to the Palisade. First things first, this is gonna have the ventilated and heated seats for the second row here, and this is gonna be the captain's chair layout. So you've got the little armrests you can fold down, and you keep those charging ports down here, as well as the USB-C charging in the sides. But in the third row of this one, you're also gonna add heated seats. So everybody in the car can be comfortable. There's cup holders back there. As well, there's little power controls to move the second row manually from back there. So that's a pretty cool feature as well. You do also keep the button on the side that can tip and fold the seat forward. You can fold them flat, slide them forward and back. It's kind of like a Lego set, the way you can configure the second and third rows. So it does make it convenient if you're hauling people or hauling stuff around. Now we've also got the little window screens here, similar to the Telluride. You've got the cup holders in the doors, and you've got a lot of space in the second row with the captain's chair configuration. Makes it easy to access the third row, or like I said, it's got the step down here, click the button, and you're in and out. But let's jump up to the front, we'll check out the driver's seat. All right, so in the Palisade Limited, I've got my phone, so let's start by opening this up, and we've got the wireless charging down here, as well as the USB plug. So again, this is gonna have the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It's got the built-in navigation in here, and it's pretty much the same screen layout, just with different icons. So it's a little bit different way that it's configured. This is kind of push the gauge cluster back a little bit more, but it's going to be the same general settings. You can see all your drive information, your route, some of your all-wheel drive settings, and then your adaptive cruise control and a few safety features. But the steering wheel buttons do remain the same, but this one adds paddle shifters onto the steering wheel here, so you can manually change through that 8-speed automatic. Now we've also got our memory seats in this model, and it's a little bit different of a kind of design on the seat. I like the bolstering in here. It's heated, it's ventilated. Again, I do keep my heated leather wrap steering wheel in this model as well. So I think the seats are great, and the seated position does feel pretty similar, and it feels very at home just hopping in the vehicle. Now, one of the biggest differences for me is going to be the shift-by-wire system. So you'll notice you've just got your little buttons here for reverse, neutral, and drive, and then click back to park. But what that does is frees up a huge cargo space underneath here. So there's no kind of huge transmission tunnel in the way. You actually have room with 12-volt charging down here. If you're putting your purse, any other stuff that's on the go for you, that does add a lot of room, which is always nice to have. Especially, you do keep a deeper center console in both models, but just that little added space does make a difference. Now, this one also gets that dual sunroof up above and just a little bit different appointments in the cabin. I like this kind of design that runs through with the gray headliner. It's a little bit lighter with the darker interior, but it does look good, and it runs onto the center console here as well as to the back of the vehicle. It does have a pretty stylish design. Now, the button layout's going to be similar here. Dual climate control, obviously, again in this model with your drive modes, and then your little parking camera that you can click to pull up that 360 view monitor. So like I said, some of the big differences in this one, the heated ventilated second row and the heated third row, just a little bit different of a layout, the shift-by-wire with the added storage space, and just some of the overall equipment that comes between the two models can be pretty similar configuration-wise, but it's just a little bit different laid out. So I think looking at both, if we're comparing the two, I know I kind of sound like a broken record, but there is a lot of similarities in a good way. Like I said, it's kind of like a sibling rivalry. You don't want to pick a favorite kid, but you know they both can do the same things, and they're both going to give you a lot of equipment and style and design. But I think overall, really what it takes is just getting in behind the wheel. I think hop behind the seat in the Telluride, or maybe crawl in the third row of the Palisade or in the driver's seat and see which one fits you, which equipment you like, which design is kind of easier laid out when you're on the go. I think there's a lot of good stuff between these two vehicles, and you gotta get out, take both for a spin, and see what you think. Now, that was just a quick look at the Telluride and the Hyundai Palisade. So if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by any one of our locations. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching.